everyone, my name is Margot, and in this course I'm going to teach you how to create the perfect structure on Google Ads. But before I start, let me give you some info about me. I'm a digital marketing consultant and I've been working on Google Ads for 5 years now for small and larger businesses with advertising budgets going from $500 to $50,000 a month. Oh, and I'm French if you are wondering where this accent comes from. Cue the colors on my shirt. I wish I had a posh British accent, but I don't, so I promise to try and tame it. Most online classes I've seen about Google Ads focus on the how instead of the why, and I believe that's problematic because it takes about anyone to create a campaign on Google Ads. There's actually some free resource that you could use out there without having to buy an online class. But the truth is, in order to get great results, you need a great structure. And a great structure requires strategy. So when I say structure, I mean the campaign, ad group, keywords, and how they are organized within your account. You can have the best keywords in the industry, the best ad copy, the best website. If your account structure is rubbish, your results will never get off the ground. And for some of you, it might be the reason why you're here today. So my take is to give you all the strategic thinking you need in order to create the perfect structure tailor-made just for your business. By the end of this course, you will understand the value of a great Google Ads structure, and you will be confident in the structure you should create. We will kick off with a lesson on why building a strong structure is so important on Google Ads, and yes, there will be a lot of me struggling while saying structure. Then I will give you examples of structure for retailers and service industries. I will teach you my tips to know when to create a new campaign, and I will end this class with a lesson on how to recognize a good keyword. After this, it will be your turn to share the structure you have built. There won't be a lot of how-to step-by-step videos on the platform apart from the choosing keywords part, but I can promise you there will be a lot of examples. So what you need to enjoy this class are basic knowledge of Google Ads. I will talk about some settings in some lessons, and though I won't go into the technical details, you should know about bids, CPC, target locations, bidding strategies. If you don't, maybe it's not the right time for you to join us yet. It would be best if you had a Google Ads account, even an empty one, so that you can use Google Keyword Planner to find keywords idea. And you also need to have a high tolerance to French accent. And that's it, you're all set. Imagining a structure takes less than an hour once you know the questions you should ask yourself, but implementing it can be a little longer, depending on the size of your account. But what you need to know is that you are saving time right from the beginning so that you can focus on more important matters in the future, like conversion rate, landing page experience, or just improving your offer. Bonjour again! Before we start with the main lessons, let me drive you through the organization of the class project and the class in general. So the goal is that by the end of this course, you will be able to create your own killer structure on Google Ads. So that is choosing the right categories to become your campaigns, organizing your ad groups correctly, and choosing your keywords carefully. And if you don't want to share your own strategy for your business, that's fine. I will provide you with 2 lists of keywords that you can use for practice. I wanted to create useful bite-sized lessons because Google Ads is such a big subject and so technical that it's important to take your time and to take breaks too from my accent, Exhibit 1, and from the topic as a whole, Exhibit 2. So you will see, and I will inform you, that some of the lessons will be split in 2 different videos. That way I can keep the video shorter and you can learn about important concepts in less than 8 minutes. Starting from the bottom, this is what it would look like. My skills on Keynote are not so great, but I hope you can see from the angle that it's a reverse pyramid. Okay, so here that's slightly better. Everything lies on the campaigns. What I could say is that you need a strong base to support great results. And if from the beginning you didn't choose the right organization for your campaigns, your account won't be balanced. So what to do, what to do? When creating a new structure, you need to focus on the intent. What does your potential clients need? What is driving them when they make a search on Google? Why do you need to do that? Because that way you are organizing every campaign to answer a specific need. And to understand that notion, you have to outline what your structure will look like. First, pick the main categories on your website. These will become your campaigns, at least temporarily. It's not that simple, as I will show you in the next lessons, but it's a starting point. Also, that's why you need a website that is well structured. Then, having selected those categories, you need to find the intent behind each category. For each intent that you will find, you will need to create one ad group. And finally, the last part of the job will be to match the keywords with this intent. Logical. It's all nice and theoretical, but let me give you some examples. I'm going to start with an e-commerce website in fashion. It's French and it's called Cézanne. I'm in the e-shop section of the website, and here are the categories: dresses, tops, knitwear, bottoms, jackets, etc. So those are my campaigns, okay? So in my campaign dresses, I found that there are 3 different intents: people looking for short dresses, midi dresses, or long dresses. So 3 different needs that make for 3 different ad groups. In my campaign tops, I also find 3 different intents for potential clients wanting to buy shirts, t-shirts, or blouses. Because someone who is looking for a shirt for work doesn't want you to talk about t-shirts in your ad copy, and they don't want you to show them a landing page with t-shirts on it too. In my campaign bottoms, there are 2 categories, but 4 different intents: skirts, first intent, shorts, second intent, jumpsuits, and finally trousers. So this website would have some trouble really answering the client's need on the landing page with how the website is built. But maybe they just didn't have enough product to fill each category. So anyway, that's how it would work for a retailer. So pretty easy if the website is already good. Let's find out what is happening for a service company. Oh, and please note that none of these companies are clients or former clients. I just looked for themes and found random websites. Okay, so self-storage business. Here are the categories on the website: personal storage, business storage, and student storage. I don't know about the student category because I think it's only cheaper deals, but personal storage and business storage are great categories that could make for great campaigns. And even right now, I hope that you understand that we are splitting them because they are very different offers. I went into the personal section. Not everything is worth using as an ad group, but I already see different intents: people who use storage because they are moving, people who are looking to store some furniture, maybe because they don't have enough room anymore, people who are renovating, so they store their belongings to avoid any incident. These are people that will need shorter contracts, by the way. People who want to store their bike, so already 4 different intents that could make for good ad groups. Not everything was perfect, but the website was mostly well organized, so it helped. It's not the case for my next example, which is a cleaning company. Take a look at the categories on the website: home, about, cleaning services, other services, etc. You won't be able to use these categories, right? And if you take a look at the cleaning services, the list is so long, it's quite frightening for the structure, but it's good to have such a wide offer, of course. When that situation happens, you need to pause for a minute and think. Looking at the list, I see several things. There's a commercial cleaning service and there's a domestic cleaning service. I can also see some very domestic services: spring cleaning, oven cleaning, upholstery cleaning, and some that could be both: window cleaning for people who have high windows in the house, or for a storefront, for example. Carpet cleaning for your family's carpet, or maybe for your boutique because a lot of clients work on this carpet. So maybe the good solution here would be to first split the personal and the business in two separate campaigns. Then to have another campaign for the services that could interest both type of persons, so an individual or a business owner. And I'm not giving away any answer here because that will actually be one of your assignments if you choose this exercise in the class project. So I will choose the keywords and you will have to create the perfect structure for this business. In the previous video, I teased what a good structure was for a retailer business, but since I believe in the power of picture, I will describe what it's going to look like exactly, and I will also describe the thought process you should have when thinking of creating your own structure. Also, this lesson is split into two videos because I have two examples for you, so the second example will be in the next video. Let's pretend that you are an online sneakers retailer. You have three categories on your website: lifestyle sneakers, running sneakers, and training fitness sneakers. You sell three brands: Nike, Adidas, and Reebok. Not that they need any advertising. At the top of my structure, there's the account, normal. Remember that the website has three categories. So these categories will become our campaigns. Then we have three different brands. And keep in mind that someone looking for Nike shoes wants to see Nike shoes, not Adidas, nor Reebok, or any other brand. Intent. Oh, so they want to find Nike shoes? We are going to give them Nike shoes. So all brands will become a separate ad group. The next step is to find keywords that match this intent. So for Adidas, for example, you will find something generic, Adidas lifestyle sneakers, and you will also find specific shoes design like Stan Smith, for instance. This we are going to replicate on all the other ad groups. So every time you will find a generic query, Reebok running sneakers, for example, and shoes designs like the Liquifect shoes. I will let you take a look at the whole structure for a few seconds. But wait, don't we have a problem, an intent problem? So if you pick the running sneakers campaign, and if you take a look at my Reebok ad group, something should feel wrong. I have two keywords, Reebok running sneakers and Reebok Liquifect. Like I said, okay. What is the intent of the people typing these words in their search bar? Some of them want to buy Reebok sneakers shoes, and the others want to buy Reebok Liquifect shoes. So at this point, I know you're probably like, thank you, Margot, I know how to read. Fair enough. Now, what if I rephrase it and tell you this? People who search for Reebok Liquifect shoes want to find Reebok Liquifect shoes, not just any Reebok shoes. They want this design in particular, and if you don't show it to them, they will leave. So this ad group doesn't have a unique intent. I'm going to detail this a little more by looking back at my account structure, which was this one. Clean slate, I'm going to start again. And this time, so that my ad groups can all have a unique intent, my campaign will be, get ready, my brand. Yes. I was lacking space, so the rest of my demonstration will be done with Nike, but imagine that I do the same with all the other brands. So my first ad group will be Nike lifestyle sneakers. It will be generic for all types of lifestyle sneakers. I will have two other ad groups that work the same way, but for Nike running sneakers and Nike training sneakers. Then for each popular shoe design, I will create an individual ad group. So we could have Nike Metcon for CrossFit, Nike Air Zoom Pegasus, etc. And this becomes a perfect structure. Now, for me to convince you that this is indeed the perfect structure, I need to talk to you about landing pages. For the Nike Lifestyle Sneakers ad group, I will use a generic landing page with all types of Nike lifestyle shoes. The same goes for the running and training ad group. Then, for the Nike Air Zoom Pegasus, for example, I will create a specific landing page that only shows Nike Air Zoom Pegasus. Again, you probably think, I know how to read, Margot, thank you. And I know, but you're thinking that because the structure is so clear. Everything is ordered in its own little box so that each landing page has a specific purpose. Let me end this first example with how the landing page should be organized. For the generic landing page for Nike Lifestyle Sneakers, I would redirect users to my generic category. I see that the 90s are being very trendy again in fashion. A good thing is to have an efficient filter for gender, colors, and price at the very least. And this is the page I would use for the Metcon ad group. Basically, it's just a search I made in their search bar so that I only see Metcon designs and still I can filter them by gender, color, etc. So it was easy here because it was Nike official website, but that's it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. You just take what works for your competitors and use it to your own advantage. And if you can, do it better. Welcome to this second lesson, create a perfect structure for a retailer business. If you took a break in between videos, remember that we started with this, a structure organized by categories, and that we ended with this, a structure organized by brands. So I said something to you earlier that I would like to correct, and don't worry because it was intentional. I said that categories are your campaigns in the very first lesson. So I'd like to suggest an erratum. When you have brands, well-known brands, they can become your campaigns because it will make more sense for your structure. But only in the case where you sell several brands. If you are Dior, for example, you're not going to create just one campaign for all your products, okay? So, without further ado, let's talk about example number 2. I want you to imagine that you are a furniture retailer. To keep things lighter, we will only work with 3 categories: kitchen, living room, and bedroom. Those are my initial thoughts. 1 account, 3 categories, so 3 campaigns. In each of these categories, I looked for themes that we could find, so here goes. And yes, we are going to start from the right this time. In bedroom, we will find people who want to buy bed linen, wardrobes, nightstands, and beds. Basically, anything that you can find in a bedroom. Logical. For the keywords, we will keep it generic since there are no brands, at least in this example. For bedding, we would find flat sheets, fitted sheets, comforter sets, etc. In wardrobes, we could bid on keywords for 2 doors wardrobes, 4 doors wardrobes, and so on. For nightstands, we would find all types of nightstands possible, and finally, in beds, we would bid on all sizes of beds. Again, you probably think, I know how to read, Margot, thank you. And I know, but you're thinking that because the structure is so clear. Everything is ordered in its own little box so that each landing page has a specific purpose. I will speed things up a little for the other campaigns, but the strategy is the same, finding every category family for which we have a wide range of products and ordering them in different ad groups. So if you look at each ad group, whether you are listening to me or you just pause the video, you will see that keywords are organized under common themes in individual ad groups. Okay, now, wait a minute. Yes, wait a minute. Don't we have an intent problem again? Let's take a deeper look at the kitchen campaign. If you didn't have the time to read everything, there are 4 big categories: kitchen sink, kitchen islands, kitchen cabinets, and kitchen linen. For different intents, we are good. But look more closely at the kitchen islands ad group, for example. One keyword is buy kitchen island. The second is buy kitchen islands with sink. You should be getting a little bit more comfortable with this. So what's their intent? What do potential clients want? In the first case, they want to buy a kitchen island, any type of kitchen island. In the second case, they want to buy a kitchen island with a sink. And those are very, very different requests. Imagine that you are a client and you go to Home Depot or any kitchen designer, whatever, and the salesperson comes to you asking to help. You go, sure, I'm looking for a kitchen island with a sink. And they say, sure, I have everything that you need, please follow me. You do, and the first 5 kitchen islands that they show you is a kitchen island in one block without a space for a sink. So I'm sure you're a polite person, so at first you won't want to say anything, but at some point you will have to say thank you next. When you're an online seller, you don't have that luxury. Imagine that you are at a fair trade show for a kitchen. I don't know if it's a thing in the US, but it is in France, so imagine that it's the case too. And imagine that there are 10 salespersons surrounding you, the poor client, and they are all trying to get you to buy products in their company. So when the user clicks on your ad, you have to show them the product that they want. They might not like it because they think it's ugly. They might think it's too expensive, but at least you show them a product that answered their needs. So to sum up, the problem we have with the current structure is that the ad groups are too generic, so we don't have a unique intent. Let's clear the board and start over. Once again, I don't have enough space, so I will only work on one theme, and it will be bedroom for today. Inside, I could have a generic campaign for bedroom furniture. I could have an ad group dedicated to king-size beds of all sorts, and I could do the same with queen-size beds, for example, and so on. Then, based on the keywords we had, I could have an ad group dedicated to 2-door wardrobes and one for the 4-door wardrobes. And to be frank, we could even ditch the generic ad groups to focus on the specific ones. And then it would be not so perfect, sorry. Why? Because I kept it short. But imagine if I had created every ad group this campaign needs: single beds, twin beds, 6-door wardrobes, floating nightstands, etc. You should definitely feel like something isn't right. Do you hear that? That's the toll of your demise. There is no way a campaign with that many ad groups with a different theme is a good campaign. No way. So what I did is that I tried to create campaigns based on the universe inside those big categories, because as is, they were just too big to be campaigns on their own. So now I have a whole campaign for beds, king size, one ad group, queen size, one ad group, single size, and twin size. I also have a wardrobe campaign with 2 doors, 4 doors, and so on being separated. The same goes for nightstands and bed linen. So in the end, we found a way to have ad groups with a different intent. If we circle back to the first draft, this was what we had: bedroom campaign and 4 ad groups. Those 4 ad groups have now become our campaigns because, as I said, bedroom was too big a category to be only one campaign. Let's end this lesson by doing the same exercise about landing pages. It's going to be quick, so prepare yourself. Each landing page will be a specific landing page for the product described in the ad group. Simple. So for 2-door wardrobes, we will find a landing page that only shows 2-door wardrobes. Sometimes my students ask me, sure, but isn't it a good idea to redirect your users to a landing page with a wide range of products other than Tudors to show that you have a wide offer? And okay, but my answer is this. Of course, on your Tudors wardrobes page, it's still good to say, take a look at my photos wardrobes. But before you can do that, answer your potential customers' need. Build trust. I saw that you clicked on my ad for Tudors wardrobes, and I am showing you a landing page with Tudors wardrobes. Think about the kitchen salesperson who wasn't listening to you. And it concludes my demonstration about retailer structure, and I will see you in the next video for services industry. Hey there, thank you for watching. This video is going to be super short because we've covered so much ground already. So for services company, you won't find structure organized by brands, which seems logical, but you will have to find the intent by looking at big categories. For this example, I thought about a moving company business that would have two types of services, the moving part and the moving truck rental. Sorry. Already, you should read two different intents here. One that is very do it for me, and the other that's more do it yourself. Here is what I thought about. My first campaign will be moving company. Can you guess what the second will be? Alright. In the first campaign, I created two ad groups, moving company and removalist. Now I've done some research on both those jobs and found that there is no difference between the two. If I'm wrong, please don't hesitate to tell me and I will correct what I just said. Admitting that I'm right though, I split them in different ad groups, even though it's the same intent in the end. Removalist, moving company, in the end it's the same job and the same service the user wants to buy. I agree. But they are very different keywords, and as such, keeping them apart is the best way to have super specific ad copy and landing pages. My last ad group here is removalist business, so moving company for offices, stores, etc., business owners. The second campaign is, drumroll, no surprise here, moving truck rental. Inside, I decided to split it into two ad groups, one for moving truck rental and one for moving van rental. Why? Because the intent is different. Someone looking for a moving van accepts cheaper prices than for a truck and something smaller too. So one landing page for both wouldn't work. But I'm spoiling the next slide, so let's move on to the landing page section. So for moving company, I would create a generic page for individuals, focusing on the main keywords from my ad group, so moving company. For removalists, the design would be the same, but instead I would focus on all the removalist variants. It's a very difficult word to say for me, I'm sorry. Finally, for removalist business, it would be tailored for professionals and business owners with special pricing and content that reflects past experience in commercial moving and offices moving. Then for my moving truck and moving van ad groups, the landing page would be specific for renting each vehicle with some options for people to choose. That's it for creating the perfect Google Ads structure for a service industry. We are back to talk about ways of creating your structures. In the previous videos, I focused a lot on the why, and before we move on to the keywords part, I wanted to speak about the how. So I checked, and the step-by-step video is exactly 4 minutes and 19 seconds long. I had to speed things up a little because the original video was 9 minutes long, But I had the time to create two structures, so I kept my promise. For this lesson, you will need to use a spreadsheet, so Google Sheet, Excel, or Numbers if you're on Mac. And I promise you there won't be any technical things to do on it. It's just a way of organizing your structure without using a fancy organizational chart, because no one has the time for that. Let's start for real on a new empty sheet. I'm dragging the word extra longer so that no one accuses me of saying something else. First off, I start by listing my keywords. For this first example, I use the moving company again, so it's easy. Once I have everything, I need to name 3 columns: campaign, ad group, and keyword. What I do next is just organize my keywords in this column. I kept the keywords in the right order, so I'm cheating a little because there's no organization needed. So I have my moving company campaign with the 2 different ad groups for the same intent, moving company and removalists. The third ad group is the removalist business ad group for business owners. Then I have the second campaign, moving truck rental, split in 2 ad groups between trucks and vans. And I'm done. I could add a filter on this to hierarchize my elements, but I won't. And because I like clarity, I will just add some light color every 2 ad groups so that I know that they are different elements. You can widen the columns too and take out the grid if you want. So you see, no skills required for this. Now for the second example. I went with the florist business online and tried to think of different themes. So I started with the obvious, online flower delivery. Then I wanted something about same-day flower delivery, so I tried to find variants of that. There was also order flowers online and close variants, buying specific flowers such as roses and orchids. And once I was happy with what I got, I started organizing them on the left, leaving space for what I believed would be my different campaigns. That way it's easier to see them when I'm working on the structure. In the meantime, I got new keywords ideas for people wanting to deliver flowers in specific cities. So imagine if my business was located primarily in California, I would have to add all the cities in that state, so big work. I stopped once I had 3 cities, but you get the idea. We are 2 minutes before the end of the video and I've just started naming my campaigns. I wanted one campaign to be about delivery solely. What I did next was putting my delivery plus city keywords up in this campaign. What's important to note is that I have 5 different intents. So someone who wants to deliver flowers online wants to do it easily on a website. The next person who wants to deliver flowers wants to do it on a website or in a store. We don't know. The next ones all want their flowers to be delivered in different cities. So it's a very different intent. Besides, keeping them apart is a good way to have very specific landing pages and ad copy tailor-made just for people who want to send flowers to San Diego, for example. After that, I have another flowers campaign with all my variants. Then at the last minute, I decided to put my same-day flower delivery in the Deliver Flowers campaign, though I could have kept it in an individual campaign. While I'm working on a structure, I try to make mental notes that I will need to check on these ad groups for performance and budget in case I need to isolate some ad groups. And if you're not good at mental notes, you can still use a paper and a pen. It's probably safer than what I do anyway. So I put a touch of gray here, and then I was left with my roses and orchids. This I'm going to put in the order flowers, but in individual ad groups because someone who is looking for roses don't want to find orchids on the landing page. If I wanted to add keywords for white roses or pink roses, I would create different ad groups too, so that my ad copy could be specific. It would also mean that I would need to isolate the buy roses, which is a generic keyword, in its own ad group because I couldn't focus on one type of rose in particular. Having said that, I am done with this structure, so as you can see, it's nothing fancy, but it's efficient, and that's what you need when you're working on Google Ads. Hey again! What I like on Google Ads is that nothing stays the same. If you ask me what changed in the 5 years I've been working on Google Ads, I wouldn't even know where to start. But what's important to understand is that managing campaigns on Google Ads is not just about creating a great structure in the beginning and letting it do its thing after. So sometimes change is needed. Sometimes your client will call you and say, Margot, I want you to promote a new product that I launch. Well, it will be easy. You will just create a new campaign, but sometimes you will have doubts. It's basically about asking yourself, when should I create a new campaign? When I'm having doubts, I found that I impose 3 rules to myself. These are not universal rules. I don't know if other marketers use them or not, but I've been doing it for 5 years and it has been working fine for me, so that's what I will share with you. So you need to know that only 3 settings can be set at campaign level only. And these are the 3 only reasons why you should have to create a new campaign. The first setting is the budget. Daily budget, is picked for a whole campaign only. You can't decide that one ad group will get more budget than another. And that's the one I will focus on in this video. The 2 others will have their own videos that I can stay under 10 minutes limits. The second setting is location and/or language. The geographic target that you choose, the language target that you choose can only be set at campaign level. So you can't have an ad group in English and the other in Spanish. It won't do you any good. The last setting is bidding strategy. I was seriously lacking inspiration for the picture, so I apologize. Anyway, I will cover this topic in detail in the next video, so keep it in a corner of your mind for now, but don't think too much about it. Most of the time, you will realize that you need to change your structure once your campaigns are running. If you want a not so smart analogy, it's like buying leather boots in winter. So when you first tried them on in the store, they were perfect. But the first day you decide to wear them and you actually walk with them, you realize that if you continue to use these socks, you will get blisters. So you have to change them. Well, it's the same with your Google Ads campaigns. So I told you, it's not a very smart analogy. So, budget. For this section, I'm going to use some previous examples, and we will start with our sneakers retailer. Remember, it was the one that sold Nike, Adidas, and Reebok shoes, and in the end, we had settled for a structure where brands were the campaign and shoe styles were the ad groups. So, you realize that your Nike Metcon ad group drives all the traffic and spends all the budget in your Nike campaign. Remember that you can't put a threshold budget at ad group level. It's only at campaign level. What it means, if I put it in other words, is that the other ad groups in your campaign can't show because they don't have enough budget. So they use the scraps left by the Nike Metcon ad group, but it's just not enough to appear every time. So you are missing on sales opportunities and it's bad. So you could lower your bids, but you are happy with your results in terms of revenue and in terms of return on ad spending. So you don't want to touch them, and that's fine. So what you need to do is to isolate the Nike Metcon ad group into its own individual campaign. That way, you will be able to control the budget it can spend, and in the original Nike campaign, the other ad groups will get a real chance at getting impressions and hopefully sales. Note that by doing this, you will probably have to raise your daily budget because the fact that the Nike Metcon ad group is in its own campaign won't change the fact that it needs a lot more budget. So if your daily budget for the original campaign was $50, for example, and that the Nike Metcon ad group was spending most of it, that's the daily budget you will have to put on your new campaign. On the OG campaign, you will have to do some tests, but you can start, for example, at $20 per day and see what happens. The second very important thing to do is to pause your old ad group in the Nike campaign. Otherwise, you will get a problem with duplicate keywords, and Google Ads don't deal with duplicate keywords well. The thing is, when duplicate keywords happen, Google Ads don't know which keyword to choose. So if one keyword has a higher bid than the other, it will be simple, but if that's not the case, it will just be very confused. So don't duplicate keywords, ever. Another thing we could do, now that Nike Metcon is a campaign on its own, is to create specific ad groups if you have the opportunity. And by saying that, I mean if you can create specific landing pages for the new specific ad groups. For example, we could split ad groups between Nike Metcon for men and women, Nike Metcon 5, Nike Metcon 6, etc., depending on the generation. That way you would have even more specific ad copy and landing pages, so you might even get better results. And this concludes the budget section, so I will see you in the next video. Welcome back for this lesson of knowing when to change your structure. So for this second video, we will talk about the two other settings, so location, language, and bidding strategy. Let's start with location and language. For this one, I will resurrect the moving company example. I didn't tell you at first, but let's pretend it was a UK-based business. Now they offer their services in France. What a surprise! First problem, your campaigns need to be translated. If you ever need a reminder of how French people deal with foreign language, know that I'm considered as fully professionally skilled in English and I speak with this accent, and I'm pretty sure I'm making a lot of grammatical mistakes, so imagine what other people are like. Moreover, it's a different country, so what should you do? This was what our campaign looked like by the end of the lesson number 3. 2 campaigns, one for the moving company service and the other for truck rental. Okay, so this we don't touch. There's no need to, it's still perfect as is. What you need to do is very simple. You need to translate your campaigns, so keyword, ad copy, ad extensions, and then you need to create a new campaign where you will geo-target France in French language. That way the structure stays the same, but only the language is different. Now, I like to complicate things, so the business is going very well, and now they want to move to the USA. Good news, your campaigns are already in the right language. So does this mean that this time you can add the USA as a new target location in your original campaign? Well, you probably guessed from my tone, but it won't be the case, because the time zone is different. And worse, there are several time zones in the USA, so it would be a very bad idea to just add it to your original campaign. What you need to do with your original UK campaign is to leave it alone. I'm adamant on that, but what you can do is duplicating the campaign once or twice, depending if you want to split it between East Coast and West Coast. But in that case, you will need to exclude East Coast from the geo-targeting in your West Coast campaign and vice versa. Now, the only difference between these campaigns will be in the target locations. Depending on the time zone that is set on your account, you will need to work on your ad schedule so that the ad in the USA don't show in the middle of the night. But then again, the best solution would be to create a new account for each country because your business is going so well, so that you have a better management of this kind of settings. Now, I feel like I must apologize about something. In the previous video, I told you that you should never duplicate keywords ever. Well, if you have a very good reason, you can. In the current case, it wouldn't be a problem to have the same keywords because of this major setting change, the location. Google Ads will understand that one keyword must only be triggered when the user is in a particular country. Last setting is the bidding strategy. What you need to know for today, if you didn't already, is that on Google Ads, you find automated bidding strategies and one manual strategy, which is manual CPC. For this example, I'm going to imagine that I use manual CPC for my furniture retailer structure. In the beds campaign, you realize that the queen size bed ad group has a steady ROAS. ROAS means return on ad spendings. It's how much money you make compared to your advertising budget. The higher it is, the better it is. So for example, if your ROAS equals 1, it means that you are not earning any money, but you are not losing any money either. If it's below 1, it means that you are not profitable. For this example, I will pretend that my ROAS is $4.2 earned for $1 spent. So it's very good. The other ad groups are more volatile. So for example, king size bed is making you earn $2 for $1 spent in March, but then the next month it's only $1.5 earned, so not stable. You've heard about bidding strategies. Yes, you did 30 seconds ago, but you're scared of breaking your account. What you need to do is to isolate the queen size bed ad group into a new campaign and to pause it in the OG campaign to avoid duplicated keywords. Yes. In the old campaign, you will still use the manual CPC, but in the new one, you will pick an automated bidding strategy, TROAS, T is for target, and you will set it at $4 because that's the result you are seeing right now on your account. Unlike the Nike Metcon campaign, where we split the keywords into several new ad groups, I don't recommend it for changes due to bidding strategies. At least in the first 3 weeks, I wouldn't touch anything, keep the structure as is. Only after this initial testing period would I think about some evolutions. Of course, don't go and do this if you know that you're entering an important period in your calendar, like Mother's Day, end of the year, sales, etc. And it's over for the big talk about structure for me. And before we move on to the class project, we still have some good practice to review about choosing the right keywords. Hello again, this is lesson 6, using tools to find your keywords. Let's start right away with Google search bar. When you need something, ask Google. It probably has all the answers anyway. And here, having just typed the business I'm looking for, I can already see suggestions. Most of them are cities, but keywords plus cities can make very good keywords, especially if you can create a specific landing page to go with this intent. I use the VPN to locate myself in the UK, and what's nice is that I can already see ads, so it's a good sign. But what interests me today is the search bar. So I see some commercial cleaning services, good. Home fresh cleaning services, it's probably a brand. Yes, it is, let's go back. Cleaners near me, etc. Let me just put a space after my query, and the suggestions changed. Not very relevant suggestions here, but still relevant. You know why? Because jobs, logo, business card are words that I will be able to add to my negative keywords list. If you scroll down, you should be able to see some suggestions. It's a very difficult word to say for me, I'm sorry. These ones we know already, so okay. But what I like to do also is in the search bar to add linking words after my query to see what Google suggests. That's what I get with an and. It's getting interesting again. In gets me the most searched cities, and for gets me the types of businesses that could be interested by this service. So interesting too, even in terms of SEO and specific landing page. Another tool is Google Trends, though I'll admit that I use it a lot less. I'm sorry for the French interface, my Google account is in English, my VPN locates me in the UK, but I think my browser is still in French, so it messes things up a little. So the first thing to do is to change États-Unis on top, which means USA for us French people, to the UK, so Royaume-Uni here. Then I'm going to search for my main keyword again. And now you are presented with a chart showing the evolution of the interest for this query in the UK in the last 12 months. You can change that time period if you wish to and choose 5 last years, for example. For example, if I looked for COVID, you would see that there's a spike in early 2020 and nothing before. But let's go back to cleaning service. On this chart, you can see that there are some spikes down. I'm not sure I can say it that way, but I hope you get what I mean. And they seem to happen on the last week of December, so it's still an important info to keep. Scroll down and you will find in which zone this query is searched the most, so people in Northern Ireland, but it's a close call with the 3 other countries. On the right, you see queries that are close from the one you are studying, and we see some interesting stuff. Roof cleaning services has made a 400% jump in search volume, for example, and you can look further with the arrows at the bottom. So I see a lot of relevant queries to add to my list. On the left, you will get interesting related topics, but that's not really the case today. And finally, if you click on a related query, you go straight to the same page, but for this new keyword. Okay, so once you have your ideas, or if you need more, you have to use the Google Keyword Planner. It's a free tool by Google, but you need a Google Ads account to use it. So don't panic, you can just create a new Google Ads account if you don't have one already, and you just leave it empty, no need to put your credit card or anything. Once you are on the dashboard, you go to Tools and Settings on top, then Keyword Planner, the first column on the left. Here you have two options, Get Search Volume and Forecast, for people who already have a complete list of keywords, or Discover New Keywords. And since we're looking for ideas, we will go with this option. Now you have to enter your main keyword or keywords, and you can enter your website URL, so I will do both. Make sure that it's the right language and the right zone. You can go as far as a city, so if your business is very local, you can still use this tool. Don't be overwhelmed, everything will be fine, I promise. So there's a big table with a lot of data going on, but first things first, below the search bar, you get suggestions from Google to broaden your search. If you click on them, they will be added next to cleaning services, but I won't do it for today. Below is the list of every keyword's ideas Google found for your main keyword, organized by different segments. Let's start on the right with account status. It's empty, but if you already had some keywords in your campaigns, it would show here with the name of the campaign. If you add a keyword to your plan, your draft if you prefer, it would also show here. Keywords can be organized by average monthly search. So for example, for cleaning services, 10,000 to 100,000 search are made each month for this keyword. The higher, the better, but you also have to look at the competition, which can be high, medium, or low. Most of the time, competition will be high, but sometimes you will find little gems, like for cleaning or house cleaning services, for example. Add impression share only shows if the keyword is already being used in an active campaign. And now for the last columns, top of page bid low range and high range. What's that about range? Top of page bid high range shows the higher range of what advertisers have paid to put their keyword on top of the page in the UK in English. Low range is the lowest amount they had to pay to appear in the same position. I'm not gonna lie, but focus on the high range bid because it's likely that it's the amount you will have to pay. Now that you have every info, you can look at the keywords ideas and select those that interest you and organize them in ad groups of your own creation. So for example, for this, I will create a cleaning services ad group. Now, don't do like me and uncheck the keyword because you still need to click on the Add Keywords button in the blue bar. I will show you later. I'm going to create a second ad group for carpet cleaning and do the same mistake. And then when going to the ad group section, I will be confused because it shows 0 everywhere. I should have known better because the account status was empty and now it's not anymore. So now when I go to the ad group section, finally I have data. So I'm not going to detail anything here because in the next and last lesson, I'm going to detail everything I do on the Google Keyword Planner once I reach this point. So stay tuned. To be able to choose the good keywords, we have to ask ourselves, what makes a good keyword? A good keyword is the keyword that represents your business the best. 1. And that isn't too expensive. 2. To make this video shorter, we will only deal with the first part of the answer, so choosing keywords that represents your business the best. And to do so, I picked the cleaning service company again, the one I keep saying we'll have to work on during the class projects. For starters, I listed some of the main keywords that interested me, so cleaning service. I saw on the website that they did spring cleaning and window cleaning, emergency cleaning, housekeeping services, and let's end this with professional carpet cleaning. I'm quite happy with this list and I can already split them in 2 categories, generic keywords and specific keywords. In generic keywords, you will find cleaning, spring cleaning, and window cleaning. In specific keywords, you will find cleaning service, emergency cleaning, housekeeping services, and professional carpet cleaning. Having done that, here is what I can say. Generic keywords tend to be shorter. Often they will describe an idea, sometimes a vague idea, and that makes it difficult for Google Ads to know when to trigger ads. Example right next, those are the results that I found for cleaning. In position 0, a Wikipedia page as a definition. Below are cleaning tips, news articles, organic videos, and people also ask section. No ad, nothing about a cleaning service company. Spring cleaning. 33 is the spring cleaning tips. 20 is the spring cleaning tips. A definition on the right. Okay, I think you get the message. The intent is not to buy a service, and I'm not sure what the intent is to be true, but they are not interested in what you have to offer. So also, generic keywords may cost you more money than you would want to, not always because the bid is high, but because the search volumes are so much higher than for specific keywords. If you want an example, think about how many people type Facebook in their search bar versus how many people type master the art of Facebook ads on the search bar. It's nowhere near similar. Well, with generic keywords, you get yourself in situations where you are paying a lot of money for clicks that are not relevant. For specific keywords, they tend to be longer and don't laugh, but that's what makes them so specific. Most of the time, they are linked to a verb or an action, such as delivery, order, book something, buy something, rent something, etc. But the major drawback is that specific keywords, while being more precise, tend to generate less traffic. The more precise you are, the less people search for this exact combination. Just imagine your mom looking for a vegan and gluten-free recipe for cupcakes with seasonal fruits. Do you think there would be a lot of results? I don't think so. So the problem is that if a keyword has no traffic, Google Ads will flag it as low search volume and it will never be triggered into an ad even if the keyword is relevant. So you need to find a balance between single words and group of words that are just too long. I'd say that you are safe when you have 3 words max in your group of words, and above 4 words, it's gonna be a little bit complicated. Being ready to do an action on your website to answer a specific need is actually what makes a good keyword. And just by saying that, we're circling back to understanding the user's intent. Does somebody need an emergency cleaning after a party gone wrong? Yes, welcome on my website. Are you looking for cleaning products to clean your windows? Well, it's good that you know that I exist, but I'd rather have you book my service. If you are looking for immediate conversion, generic keywords might be a no-go. So as is, I wouldn't use these generic keywords, but we can transform them. So cleaning already exists as cleaning service, but I could do the same with spring cleaning, which would become spring cleaning service. And that one word adds that specific intent because someone who types that obviously wants to book a professional. And I could do the same with window cleaning, and just like that, all my generic keywords would become specific keywords. So that's all for answering the first part of our question, which was what makes a good keyword. And this last section is also a good introduction to answering the second part. A good keyword is a keyword that isn't too expensive. So I'll see you in the next video. Welcome to Lesson 7b, Choosing the Good Keyword. It's also the last lesson for this course, so I hope you're excited to go to the class project part. Remember that to choose the good keyword, we were in the process of answering the question, what makes a good keyword? So this is the second part of this answer. To make sure that a keyword is not too expensive, you must anticipate its cost. And for this, you need Google Keyword Planner. I told you in lesson number 6 that I would explain everything with more details, and this is the time. Going back to the keyword planner, so tools and settings on top, then first column on the left, there were 2 options, discovering new keywords or get search volume and forecast. I want to forecast data for the list of keywords I created in the previous video, so I will just paste it here. I added a few variants. So on the slides, it was all about adding the keyword service everywhere. Well, I did the same, but with company at the end and professional at the beginning. Now let's see what happens. It's about the same presentation than the last time. Don't forget to change the country and language. And I forgot to mention, but you can modify the calendar too. I like the month by month rhythm, so I will keep it that way. So below you get a list of all your keywords organized in a single ad group, but that's okay for now. You can see the max CPC, so it's the maximum bid you would want to pay. It's $3 for some reason. Clicks, impressions, cost, etc. KPIs that matter on Google Ads, but let's stay focused on our goal. With these keywords, I would get more than 6,000 clicks, 120,000 impressions, so the number of times my ads show, for a 10K budget, which make $380 daily. Google Ads also suggests the kind of CTR and position you could have. Okay. What I want to show you is how to set your max CPC, which is pretty random for now. When you click on it, a chart appears. From 0 to infinite, it starts with a rising curve, but at some point it goes flat. So your goal is to find that point where the curve is still rising, but not flat yet. $4.50 seem good. Of course, you will get more clicks, more impressions, it will cost you more, etc. But I want to see what's happening for my keywords. So I'm going to order them by cost, and now I'll be able to say which keyword is outrageously expensive. Cleaning company, ouch. carpet cleaning services and cleaning service to a lesser extent. And then I will have keywords with little to no budget spent because search volumes are too low. So combinations with housekeeping, emergency cleaning, spring cleaning, they are not very good keywords because there's not enough volume. Let's go back up and stop to the point where every keyword spends at least $100 per month. So I stop at professional window cleaning. All of the keywords on this screen would be interesting. Yes, even cleaning company that will cost you your kidney. What I could do with these keywords and all the keywords that seem to spend a lot of money just for 1 month is to try and reduce the bid, which is $4.5, to something that is closer to the average CPC that Google Ads is forecasting. So it seems that it would be $2. And just like that, the budget is divided by more than 2. We get less clicks, sure, but that's already more manageable. By default, Google Ads use broad match on the keyword planner, so you could play with the match types. If I select phrase match, I get $3,300 per month. If I select exact match, it falls at $800 a month. So you can play, if I can use this verb, on Google Keyword Planner to find the best balance on your account, but don't forget that it's only a forecasting tool, so the results won't be exact. Now, the next and last tip I want to show you is a mathematical one. I will use the results Google Ads forecast for phrase match. So it said that we would get 2,300 clicks per month. Now, if I take a look at my imaginary Google Analytics account, I see that my conversion rate is not glorious, 1.5%. It means that I get 34.5 buyers per month. So let's go with 34. Now, if my average basket for a cleaning service is $100, I will get $3,400 of revenue. Up until then, I hope everyone is fine here. So my budget to get this much clicks was $3,300. So as you can see, right now, I'm not making a lot of money from these campaigns. So if we talked ROAS again, it would mean that we would only earn $1.03 for each dollar invested. So we are barely profitable. Now imagine that my conversion rate is better than that, 3%. That gets me 69 buyers. 69 times 100 makes $6,900 of revenue. ROAS is now at the point where you double every dollar you spend, so that's a good start. Now imagine that your average basket also gets better. You would earn $10,000 in the end, and your ROAS would now be at a very good level. I strongly recommend you to do this type of calculation on your end. As you can see, it's not overly complicated, but it helps to know at which level your KPIs should be for you to be profitable, which in the end is the only thing that matters. Most of the time, transforming your categories into campaigns will be enough, but sometimes you should be careful because those categories are so big that you will have to split them into several smaller categories. And when you have well-known brands, they will be more adapted as campaigns. And when the keywords for one intent are too different from one another, you can split them in two different ad groups. That's for the campaigns. Now, the big picture is still about understanding the user's intent, the user's need. So remember that one ad group equals one intent equals one landing page. So to sum up, good keywords are keywords that are not too generic because they would be too vague and the intent would be lost. But they are not too specific either, because in that case, the search volumes would be too low. I recommend you to choose specific keywords, even if the cost might be a little bit more expensive, because you need a clear intent if you want to create specific ad copy and specific landing pages that answer a need. To know if a keyword is going to be expensive or not, you need to use Google Keyword Planner and to play with the max CPC up to the point where you feel that the cost is not too discouraging. You also need to vary your match types to find the best balance. Note that the best thing to do is to vary all the match types inside your ad groups and not to focus on one in particular. And finally, don't forget that it's a forecasting tool, so results won't be exact. Last tip, one ad group equals 15 keywords, and when I say 15 keywords, I mean 5 keywords times 3 match types. So the 3 most common match types: broad match modifier, phrase match, and exact match. So 5 times 3 equals 15 keywords max. If you have more than 15 keywords, it probably means that your ad group could be split in several ad groups more specific.